Let me ask you something. How many times have you promised yourself that, this time will be different, only to fall back into the same old patterns? You dream of changing your life. You want more discipline, better habits, a fresh start. But every Monday turns into a repeat of the last one. You're not alone. Millions of people are stuck in the loop, wanting more, but never quite getting there. But what if I told you that everything could shift with just one habit? Not 10. Not 5. 1. One small thing that, if you commit to it, even for 5 minutes a day, could set a chain reaction in motion that transforms your entire life. Sounds dramatic? Keep watching. You'll see why it's not understanding the concept. What is this one habit? It's easy to get caught up in the idea that change requires massive effort, long to-do lists, strict routines, waking up at 5 a.m., or transforming every part of your life overnight. But what if I told you that one simple habit, consistently practiced, could trigger a domino effect that transforms every aspect of your life? That one habit is this: intentional daily reflection. It's not meditation. It's not journaling for the sake of journaling. It's something deeper, more focused, and it doesn't take more than 10 minutes a day. Intentional daily reflection is the act of stopping each day, even just for a few moments, to ask yourself the right questions. What did I learn today? Why most people don't practice it and what it's costing them. If something is so simple, why don't more people do it? Because simple doesn't mean easy. And reflection requires honesty, sometimes brutal honesty. It forces you to look at things you'd rather avoid: wasted time, missed opportunities, emotional triggers, unkept promises to yourself. And that's uncomfortable. Most people are terrified of sitting in silence with their own thoughts. It's easier to scroll, to distract, to blame others. But avoiding reflection doesn't make the truth disappear. It just hides it beneath layers of busyness. When we refuse to reflect, we trade self-awareness for self-deception. We trade growth for stagnation. We repeat the same mistakes in different forms and call it bad luck. We wake up years later in a life that feels unfamiliar and wonder, how did I get here? The cost is enormous, not just in missed goals, but in missed selves. Versions of you that could have existed, but didn't, because you never paused long enough to become them. Daily reflection shines a light on the gap between who you are and who you could be. And until you become aware of that gap, you can't begin to close it. So yes, it's uncomfortable. But the discomfort of reflection is the birthplace of transformation. The question is, are you brave enough to face yourself? Where did I act in alignment with the person I want to become? Where did I fall short, and what can I do differently tomorrow? What am I grateful for today? You might be thinking, that's it? That's the habit that's supposed to change my life? Yes. And here's why. Most people are on autopilot. They wake up, go through their routine, handle responsibilities, distract themselves, go to sleep, and repeat. There's no pause. No intentional check-in with the self. No course correction. Without reflection, we're just reacting to life. But with it, we begin to respond to life, deliberately and consciously. This single act rewires your brain to focus on growth. It trains your mind to seek meaning in everyday experiences. And most importantly, it helps you become aware of who you are, where you're going, and whether your actions are aligned with your vision. Why most people don't practice it and what it's costing them. If something is so simple, why don't more people do it? Because simple doesn't mean easy. And reflection requires honesty, sometimes brutal honesty. It forces you to look at things you'd rather avoid: wasted time, missed opportunities, emotional triggers, unkept promises to yourself. And that's uncomfortable. Most people are terrified of sitting in silence with their own thoughts. It's easier to scroll, to distract, To blame others. But avoiding reflection doesn't make the truth disappear. It just hides it beneath layers of busyness. When we refuse to reflect, we trade self-awareness for self-deception. We trade growth for stagnation. We repeat the same mistakes in different forms and call it bad luck. We wake up years later in a life that feels unfamiliar and wonder, how did I get here? The cost is enormous, not just in missed goals, but in missed selves. Versions of you that could have existed, but didn't, because you never paused long enough to become them. Daily reflection shines a light on the gap between who you are and who you could be. And until you become aware of that gap, you can't begin to close it. So yes, it's uncomfortable. But the discomfort of reflection is the birthplace of transformation. The question is, are you brave enough to face yourself? The science behind daily reflection, why it actually works. Let's move beyond poetic inspiration for a moment, and talk science. You've probably heard that journaling or daily reflection is good for you, but what does that actually mean? What happens in your brain and body when you pause, think, and write? Neuroscience, you rewire your brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on what you repeatedly do, is at the core of transformation. When you reflect daily, you're literally training your brain to notice patterns, connect thoughts, and make better decisions. You're strengthening the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for critical thinking, self-control, and long-term planning. Without reflection, the brain tends to default to old habits, often rooted in emotion, fear, or survival mode. But reflection activates a more evolved part of the mind, the observer self. This part isn't just reacting to life, it's responding, with intention. Psychology, the power of self-awareness. Dr. Tasha Eurich, an organizational psychologist, studied self-awareness in over 5,000 people. Her research revealed a surprising fact: only about 10 to 15% of people are truly self-aware, though most think they are. Why does this matter? Because self-awareness is strongly linked to better relationships, stronger leadership, greater fulfillment, and more effective decision-making. And one of the most reliable ways to build self-awareness? Daily reflection. When you stop and ask, why did I react that way? Or what am I really afraid of? You begin to uncover the root causes behind your behavior. And once something becomes conscious, you can finally change it. Stress reduction and emotional regulation studies show that even 10 minutes of reflective writing a day can lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, regulate your nervous system, and increase emotional resilience. Think of it like cleaning your emotional house every day. Instead of letting resentment, anxiety, or self-doubt pile up until you explode, reflection gives you space to process it before it festers. That's not just a productivity hack, that's mental hygiene. Performance and goal achievement. Daily reflection is also one of the most common habits among high achievers. Top CEOs, elite athletes, military leaders, and creative professionals often keep some form of daily journal or reflection practice. Why? Because it keeps them focused. They review what worked, what didn't, and what they can do better tomorrow. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, writes, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." And daily reflection is a system, a feedback loop that keeps you growing. So to recap, the science says, you're training your brain for clarity and better decisions. You're becoming more emotionally aware and grounded. You're reducing stress and building inner peace. You're increasing your chances of actually reaching your goals. And the best part? It costs nothing. It requires no tools. Just time, honesty, and a willingness to look inward. So the real question isn't does it work? It's, are you willing to do it? How to start even if you've never done it before. Let's be honest. The idea of daily reflection sounds great in theory, but when it's 10 p.m., you're exhausted, your brain is fried, and your to-do list is still halfway unfinished. Sitting down to reflect feels like just another task. That's why so many people never begin, or quit within a few days. But here's the truth, you don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to start. Let's break it down into simple, practical steps that anyone, yes, even you, can follow, no matter how busy or tired you are. Step 1. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes. Start small. This isn't a 1-hour therapy session or a productivity bootcamp. It's 5 intentional minutes with yourself. Choose a time that fits your rhythm. For some, that's first thing in the morning before the noise begins. For others, it's the quiet just before bed. There's no wrong time, only the time you'll actually stick to. Tip: pair it with an existing habit like brushing your teeth or having coffee. This creates a natural trigger and makes it more likely to become a routine. Step 2. Choose a format that feels natural. Not everyone likes to write in a leather-bound journal under candlelight. Some prefer typing. Some record voice notes. Some use apps. Some just sit and think. There's no right or wrong way, only the one that helps you stay honest. Here are some popular options: pen and paper, old school, but powerful. Something about writing by hand makes it more personal. Digital journal, apps like Day One, Journey, or even notes on your phone. Voice memos, especially helpful if you're more verbal than written. Mirror talk, speak to yourself out loud. It's raw and real. Even silent reflection, close your eyes, breathe, and think deeply. The point isn't the format, it's the intention behind it. Step 3. Ask the right questions. Reflection without direction can feel aimless. That's where prompts come in. Here are a few simple yet powerful questions to guide you. What am I feeling right now, and why? What did I learn about myself today? Where did I show up as my best self? What triggered me today? What was underneath that? Is there something I'm avoiding that I need to face? What am I grateful for today? You don't need to answer all of them. Just pick one that speaks to you. Brain, remember, the goal is not to figure everything out. It's to be present with your thoughts, even the messy ones. Step 4. Don't judge what comes out. This part is critical. So many people start strong and then quit because they think they're doing it wrong. They expect clarity or revelation every time. They get frustrated if their mind wanders. Or they feel silly for not writing anything profound. But this isn't a performance. It's a practice. Some days your reflection might be 2 powerful sentences. Other days it's a scattered mess of half-thoughts and raw emotion. Both are valid. Both are healing. You're not doing this to impress anyone. You're doing it to connect with yourself. Step 5. Show up again tomorrow. This is where the magic happens. Not in the aha moments, but in the act of consistency. In returning to yourself again and again. Especially on the days when you don't want to. That's what builds resilience. That's what deepens awareness. That's what changes lives. And if you miss a day, don't quit. Just begin again. Daily reflection is not a rigid task, it's a relationship. And like any relationship, it takes time, grace, and a little faith. You don't need to be spiritual. Or a writer. Or enlightened. You just need to be willing to show up. Because every time you do, you're reminding yourself that your inner world matters. And when your inner world begins to change, everything around you follows. Common struggles, and how to overcome them. Let's be real for a second. Even when we want to build new habits, life gets in the way. We forget. We resist. We doubt. We fall off track. Daily reflection is no exception. So let's talk about the most common obstacles, and how you can face them without quitting. I don't have time. This is the number one excuse, and it feels true, especially if your days are packed. But here's a hard truth: we find time for what we value. You scroll through social media. You binge a show. You hit snooze. What if you replace just 5 minutes of that with 5 minutes of yourself? Shift the mindset. It's not I don't have time. It's I haven't made it a priority, yet. How to overcome: pair reflection with a habit you already have, like brushing your teeth. Set a phone reminder labeled just 5 minutes for me. Start with 2 minutes. Really? Just begin. Brain, my mind won't shut up. You sit down to reflect. And your brain starts racing. Did I reply to that email? What am I even doing? This is a waste of time. That's normal. Your mind is wired to avoid stillness, because stillness makes you feel. But that's where the gold is. How to overcome: embrace the chaos. Don't resist it, write it down. Use a prompt to anchor your thoughts. What do I need to let go of today? Try a 1-minute breathing exercise before you begin. Let go of the idea of doing it right. Just do it. You're not here to control your mind. You're here to listen to it. I don't know what to write. You open your journal and nothing comes. The blank page stares back like a dare. Here's the secret: it doesn't need to be deep or poetic. It just needs to be honest. How to overcome: start with, I don't know what to write, but. And go from there. Describe your physical state: I'm tired. My neck hurts. I'm hungry. Vent. Whine. Celebrate. Reflect. Be real. The page isn't judging you. It's waiting for you. Person standing: I feel silly doing this. If you've never done inner work, this can feel awkward or even embarrassing. Especially if no one around you is doing it. Especially if you've been taught to be strong or move on. But let me ask you this: would you feel silly brushing your teeth every day? No, because you know it keeps your mouth healthy. Daily reflection keeps your mind and soul healthy. How to overcome: remember that you're doing something most people don't have the courage to do. Keep it private at first. It's yours. The discomfort means you're breaking old patterns. That's growth. I'm not seeing results. You've been doing this for a week or two, and nothing feels different. No breakthroughs. No peace. No clarity. That's okay. Reflection is like watering a seed. You won't see it sprout overnight. But something is happening beneath the surface. How to overcome: reread past entries. You'll be surprised at what you've already uncovered. Be patient. Transformation happens slowly, and then all at once. Trust the process. You're not wasting time. You're investing it. It feels too painful sometimes. Reflection unearths things we've buried: old wounds, regret, guilt, loneliness. It can be overwhelming. But avoiding it doesn't make the pain go away, it just buries it deeper. How to overcome: go slow. You don't have to process everything at once. Balance hard truths with gratitude and self-compassion. Seek support: talk to a therapist, coach, or safe person if needed. Remind yourself, feeling is not breaking. It's healing. Your heart is trying to talk to you. Let it speak. Final reminder: every struggle you face in this process is part of the transformation. Don't run from it. Learn from it. Because on the other side of resistance is release. Long-term benefits: what changes after 365 days? Let's imagine something together. It's 1 year from today. You didn't wait for motivation. You didn't aim for perfection. You simply showed up for yourself, day after day, for 365 days. What's different? Compass: you know yourself deeply. After a year of reflection, you've peeled back the layers. You're not living on autopilot anymore. You know your patterns, your triggers, your fears, and your power. You stop asking the world who you are. You start telling it. You speak with clarity and confidence because you understand what you feel, and why. You're not afraid of your emotions anymore. You've spent 365 days listening to your inner voice. Now, it speaks up without shaking. Stop sign you break cycles that once controlled you, old habits. Gone, or transformed. Toxic relationships no longer define your worth. You've stopped reacting. You've started responding, with intention. You no longer carry old pain like it's part of your identity. You've let go. Brain, you think clearer, feel lighter. Mental fog is replaced by focused energy. You don't waste time overthinking every decision. You trust yourself more, and doubt yourself less. You've made peace with your past. You're no longer at war with your mind. You forgive, and feel free. Somewhere along the way, that person you couldn't forgive? You finally released them. Not because they deserved it, but because you did. Because carrying resentment was too heavy to hold anymore. That's what happens when you do the work. Your heart opens. Your life softens. You see purpose in every moment. You start to realize, life isn't just about chasing goals. It's about becoming someone you're proud to live with, in silence, in stillness, in truth. You've built a friendship with yourself. And that changes everything. One day became a year, and it was worth it. It didn't happen all at once. It happened one morning. One page. One honest answer at a time. And now? You're not the same person who started this journey. You're more, not because you added anything, but because you removed what wasn't really you. Final words: don't wait another year to start. A year from now, you'll arrive somewhere. Let it be somewhere you chose. Start today. Start small. But start. Because 365 days from now, you won't say, "I wish I had." You'll say, "I'm so glad I did." Call to action: if this message spoke to something deep inside you. If you're ready to grow, reflect, and become your best self, then subscribe to this channel. We're building a space for transformation. For truth. For people who want to live intentionally. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. There's more guidance coming, and you don't want to miss it. This is just the beginning. Let's walk this journey together. You in?